Well, I gotta do this over. All right. So, this is. I'm jumping on the bandwagon and doing a coronavirus update. Now, one excellent channel that you can go to for constantly updated, accurate information is Peak Prosperity, run by a man named Chris Martinson. Chris Martinson has been running a financial channel. If we go back far enough, before coronavirus was on our minds, you'll see everything here. Peak Prosperity literally is part of financial, but Chris Martinson's background is pathology. And so as we move up the timeline, we see a week ago he started picking up information of the coronavirus, and his information is very concise, clear, level-headed. So if you have time, check that out. Let me check to make sure I'm live so I don't do this twice in a row, 3 times over. Alright, I'm live. I already talked to myself for an hour, so hopefully I can get this done in less than that. I had a video here, Ebola News 614, in wake of the couple from Fiji who collapsed of a mysterious illness. Everybody on YouTube and Reddit was convinced that it was Ebola. There were other people that got infected. They were healthy, they developed a fever, and then they collapsed and they died. And we thought it was Ebola. We were convinced it was Ebola, and there's a reason. There's one of the things I left out of that video, right? I did this video on, I had to count on my hands, June 14th. Now, this is Timothy J. Cunningham, Harvard-educated doctor for the CDC as an epidemiologist. He was a leader and was named 2017 Atlanta's Business College 40 under 40. Co-author of 28 publications about sleep deprivation, pulmonary disease. Graduated from Morehouse, SMSCD from Harvard School of Public Health. On February 12th, 2018, he left work early saying that he wasn't feeling well. His parents drove from Maryland to Atlanta to find his phone, keys, wallet, car, and his dog there. They found it was strange. Then, on April 3rd, they found him in the Chattahoochee River in northwest Atlanta. They say that the cause of death was drowning. Now, over here is Zero Hedge. Cunningham, who was promoted to the commander in the U.S. Public Health Service last July, worked on the government response to both Zika and Ebola outbreaks. So he worked on Zika and Ebola. He left work early, and he was found drowned in a river. Now, there's another thing this article doesn't mention, is it the day that he had gone missing, he had went to his neighbor's house and said, erase all of our conversations and pictures from, if somebody asks about me, say you don't know me. The neighbor thought it was very strange, and it was. And I can assume one of two things. He had gambling debts and the mob was after him, or he was a potential whistleblower. He didn't like what he saw with the experimentation of Ebola. He found out that it was an experiment, that it was the testing ground, and they were weaponizing it. And he attempted to be what's called a whistleblower. And they killed him for it. Okay? Now, August 8th, 2 months after I made the video, and around the same time that the Ebola scare kind of died down, the CDC went in and shut down an army lab that was working on Ebola vaccine, which means they had the virus there. And I don't know what they were working on. They say that it was an Ebola vaccine, but when you get into not just the top secret, but the people who have top secret clearance, top secret clearance, top clearance 4 or 5 times over, there's probably only 10 individuals in this world that know what they were truly working on. And the CDC went in and shut them down. When you look at the timeline of things, it's surreal. And you can only let your imagination wonder what the connection is between all of these. Right? Zero hedge again. Coronavirus contains HIV insertions. Okay, now HIV and Ebola are both arguably of a simian origin. Simian is a type of monkey. So if you follow where I'm going, even though Ebola and HIV are different structures, different species, you have to understand the similarity between them all. And I'm not a super technical person. I'd call myself quite technical, but not super technical. And I read through this, okay? Uncanny similarity of unique inserts in the 2019 NCOV spike protein HIV-1. Gee, I'm not super technical. If there was somebody who was super technical and could read all this, I'm good at seeing through the BS. I'm good at seeing their master plans, and I'm somewhat technical. But you can go check this out, right? The article right there. And for those of you who know what Resident Evil is, this is the logo of the company that holds the patent for the coronavirus. Yes, it's patented. And this is the company in Resident Evil that was doing the genetic experiments and ended up turning the world into zombies. The main character, the female, she was a super soldier and she was immune to the C virus. And it spread through Raccoon City, or C-A-R. It's just like Corona. Wait. C-O-R-O-N-A. Corona. You can't make this stuff up. The people who designed this, just like Aldous Huxley was a member of, I believe it was MI6, MI12, whatever the number was, and wrote A Brave New World. He did so with insider information. J.R. Tolkien. He had insider information and he wrote fiction. People these days, they get insider information, they write fiction, they know these things. Things like coronavirus has been in planning for such a long time. Somebody caught wind of it and they try. It's not a coincidence. I'm telling you, right? So now here we have confirmed cases. We have confirmed cases. Confirmed cases in Massachusetts. Confirmed cases in Arizona, Washington, New York, Illinois. It's here. It's in the States. It has up to a 14. I've even read a 21-day incubation period. That means that this person is sick and has been spreading because the coronavirus, the carrier can be asymptomatic and still pass around, still be contagious. So I mean the person was walking around for up to 21 days passing this out to people. It's here. Forget it. Like Sayonara, United States. It's going to sweep across everything. It's just a matter of time. This is why I'm doing this video. I feel like I'm doing this video late. I feel like I should have done this video a week ago, but I didn't know what to make of it. And Boston. A college student in Boston. So it's going to be in a Boston University. I'm interested to see what will be the rate of transmission in Boston University. What will be their response once students start falling ill? Because students are in close proximity with each other. They're in rooms breathing the same air because it's airborne. It can go through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, things that you touch. and it's in New York. More cases every day. It's only a matter of time before we get the first death related to coronavirus and people who die of pneumonia. There are a certain percentage of cases people who get coronavirus die of pneumonia. So there's another way that they can be skewing the statistics. And that's what I'm getting into here. I don't know the credentials on this website. 17,000 cases, they're saying. Here's the chart. Okay, so we're at 17,390 and 362 deaths. So we're somewhere right here. So by the statistics, which are cooked, the books are cooked basically. The statistics are fraudulent. They're downplaying the true death toll and infection rate. They're doing so without a doubt. That's what governments do. They do so because they don't want to strike fear. They want you, first of all, if you understand that these governments are run by diabolic people, demonic people, then you'll understand that they want this thing to spread. If they told people that this thing has the potential to spread everywhere, to go out and buy food and go water and shelter in place and let it all blow over, they wouldn't get their goal, which is to have it spread to every single person in the world and kill as many people as possible, but not too many people. And they don't want the news to get out until it reaches every single country and every single corner of the world, because this is going to crash markets, and that's what I'm going to get into. That's what I'm going to get into in a couple tabs, right? But when I said there was a 1 to 21 day lag period, okay, here's where we are. Right around here, it says the date listed for the 31st. Now let's say it's a 3-day lag period. 1, 2, 3. Then we're at least at 1,000 deaths and 52,000 cases. 5-day lag period, 2,300 deaths, 114,000 cases. 7-day lag period, we're talking about 5,000 deaths, 250,000 cases. And this is just a chart. I don't know. You can find like this chart right here. We don't know the true numbers. But this is based on, it's RO rating, the rate at which it spreads, got upgraded from 2 to 4. Next thing you know, it's going to upgrade from 4 to 6. Then what? We just don't know. China is closing stores. Here, we're going to get to the economic portion. China is closing stores. Apple closes stores. Starbucks closes stores. Many other places closes stores. Tesla stops production. Oil consumption, which China leads the world in. Oil consumption dropped by more than 20% since the outbreaks. Production is ceasing to a halt. If there's a break in the supply chain, this world can come to a standstill really quick. Now here's a chart. So what they're telling us, this whole narrative that is being presented, it's all planned. The release of coronavirus was planned, and I'll show you how. I'll show you how, I'll show you why. This is the price of light crude oil futures. This is the price of Brent crude oil futures. Either way, as we zoom in, if I can. Alright, let me go back. Alright, hold on. Either way, if we zoom in, and we look at the price of oil, they're saying that this Wuhan virus is dropping the price of oil and subsequently dropping the stock market. Standard & Poor hit all-time highs right around this time. All-time highs. Okay? And I'll tell you what was driving these markets to all-time highs is repo market. Let me go back. On September 17th, the Fed began conducting its own operations to keep the market secure following a spike in interest rates the day before due to a cash crunch. So let me explain. This right here, December 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. Stock market damn near broke. Okay? Damn near broke and went all the way through the bottom down to hell. Crashed through earth. They had to close the markets early, if I'm not mistaken, at $233 on the SPY. How far it would go? Like I said, it would probably go down to double digits at least. Or at most, whichever way you see it. And Steve Mnuchin, who is the Secretary of Treasury, who was on vacation, you know, had to, he was on vacation in Cabo with his wife, and he had to, leave the corner of the room, if you get what I'm saying. And he had to go pick up his phone, and he had to call the six major banks in the United States. And he had to say, listen, there's no cash, there's no liquidity crisis. He snapped his fingers, pushed a button on the mouse, and printed out who knows how many dollars. And since then, the market's just been going up, right? Repo operations began September. Why? Because those injections, they couldn't keep secret anymore, and they weren't working. So repo markets, which you can go to the NewYorkFed.org and check this every night. It's called the overnight repo market. They lend money out. So January 31st, let's look at how much money. Now, remember the 2008 crisis, which was just basically put on hold. We, the taxpayers, had to give $700 billion to the banks. Now look at what they're doing every night. You can check this for yourself. Friday, January 31st to Monday the 3rd, $4.5 billion. 31st to the 3rd, $45 billion. 30th to the 31st, $4 billion. 30th to the 31st, $48 billion. 30th to the 31st, $33 billion. This one happens to be 0.3. But then we're back up at 50. As you can see, they are printing almost $700 billion in how many days? This is not a healthy economy. This economy is on adrenaline, while one nurse sticks a Q-tip full of cocaine and another nurse gives it an adrenaline shot at the same time that they're hitting them with a defibrillator. This economy is dead. It's dead. It is dead. It is dying. They have pumped trillions of dollars into the markets to prop up the stock market to keep this thing going. It's like a Frankenstein monster is dead. It's dying. Here it is. They cannot paper over this anymore. Look at this steep incline. This is not natural. It's not right. And here we are at this moment in time. Because the Economist magazine, right, this is their goal. Their goal is to create, they want to bring on the beast system with the blockchain. In some cases, the citizens, they win by adopting Bitcoin. They get a little bit more choice, but the government will be able to monitor everything that we do. No more cash. Anyways, this was 1988. They released this. This is owned by the Rothschilds, the big banking family. They released this in 2000. They said 2018 Bitcoin will be here. Well, we overshot the mark by 2 years. However, we had that big run up in 2017, so maybe everything's not exact in the in the job of the business of world domination. So I want to divert your attention to one of the videos that I made, because here I'm going to explain to you how I know for a fact that right now this is it. Like the Ebola, I thought was it just because of the timing of everything. I was just a little bit off, and like I said, this is the whole thing that they were doing with Ebola was preparing for this. I made a video called "The Heart Is Not a Pump." I didn't do it to the best of my ability, but I did it a long enough time ago, and this video itself is impromptu. Like I should have done the video a week ago. I'm doing it today. I've been doing my research, but I haven't really done the preparation that I do when I go through a video. The heart is not a pump. I want you listen to the whole thing, but I want you to direct your attention to the section when I talk about the hemocyanins. You can see the Seal of Solomon. They love this imagery. It's in science. It's in geography. It's everywhere. Okay, it is here in Saturn's hexagon. The Jews, they think that they're from Saturn. That's why the original Sabbath of their cult of Abraham was on Saturday or Saturn Day. I believe it's the god of agriculture or sacrifice. They just love, you know, cutting the foreskin off babies and then sucking the blood. I don't know what to tell you. Like, they need to be exterminated off the face of planet Earth. That's for starters. But back to this. Everybody remembers Blind 11. I don't think my channel's big enough for algos, but I'm going to jump on the bandwagon of calling it Blind 11 because everybody's blind to what really happened. It made us hate Muslims and hate some dirt poor, and I emphasize the word dirt poor because those people over there, all they have is dirt. Dirt and rugs, and they like some dirt poor farmers, and they're not even farmers, they're goat herders, thinking that they're responsible for this stuff. You know, you poke a hornet's nest, you're going to see a pissed off organism, and that's the bottom line. But on September 11th, 2001, Saturn was in Gemini, and it was opposing Pluto. So that was the little evil, the little brother, the little twin, the young Simba, the young this, the young Anakin Skywalker. When Saturn meets Pluto, we experience the heart of darkness and are forced to face our deepest fears and our very will to live. Pluto purges secrets, personal and collective. Now I know some of you might roll your eyes at this astrology stuff, but they don't. This is how they communicate. This is how they know when to carry out their plans. I'm telling you, on Blind 11, the planets were aligned. And I want you to understand that Saturn met Pluto in Sagittarius in January. And it did so on January 13th. Which, if you look at the incubation period, let me go back to the chart. I actually have not correlated this. But if this chart were to go back far enough, I'm willing to bet that this thing started on the 13th. It's when they released it because it's engineered, it's weaponized. This isn't the end of the world. I'm not saying that. But it's the big changeover. This is where they usher in their new world order. But to do so, they need a scapegoat, and they've got one. Now, I'm going to bring some light to all of this, if you just give me a second. I've got to talk about this, you know. This definitely pertains to the heart is not a pump. I didn't understand how important that video was. I wish I had done it better, a better job on that video. It is what it is. Now listen carefully. The influence of pH conditions on coronavirus survival, right? They are more stable at a slightly acidic pH, 6 to 6.5, than at an alkaline pH. This is important, okay? First and foremost, how many of you know the pH of your water that you drink every day, that you depend on, that you should be drinking at the minimum a gallon of every day? I strive for 2. If I drink just 1 gallon a day, I feel dehydrated. Now, me, I could tell you what my pH is. I could also tell you what my parts per million is. The pH of my water is 7.19 on the cheapest pH meter that they had on Amazon. And I don't worry about it because I have a RODI filter. That's reverse osmosis deionization. And the parts per million is 0. I drink pure water out of a glass, like a half-gallon milk container. It's the best water I've ever tasted. And I know that what I'm putting into my body is pure. No chlorine, no fluoride, no calcium, no other 100 other compounds that would never occur in nature. One of the best choices that I've ever made. And I say that to the end of this day. Now, primitively, distilled water is the same thing. From what I've heard and read, it gets down to 0 parts per million, which puts it at a pH between 7 and 7.2. So alkalizing your body is very important. This comes down to the food that you eat. So, first and foremost, before mass hysteria takes over the United States, I need you to do something for me, and I need you to alkalize your body. Please, be mindful of everything that enters your person. That means no more meat. You don't need meat. If I'm not mistaken, right? Potatoes do this magical thing when you eat enough of them. They're the only thing on planet Earth that if you eat enough of it, it provides a complete amino acid profile. Sunflower seed sprouts, pound for pound, are the most protein-dense food on planet Earth. Things like moringa and stinging nettle are the most nutritious things on planet Earth. And it's all plant-sourced. Mushrooms, not even talking about their antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer properties. They have high protein. They have B vitamins, including B12. They have protein and vitamin D. So basically what I'm telling you is adopt a vegan blueprint. Now, I know people might cringe at the word vegan, and sometimes I do too. Because for starters, I don't eat soy. I stay away from the isoflavonoids. I don't eat fermented food. No yogurt, no vinegar at all. Of any kind, vinegar is not good. You don't eat peanuts, they're acidic. I don't eat kimchi. I don't eat no fermented foods. One thing I do drink is raw milk. First and foremost, it has to be fresh. Otherwise, you'll smell it, you'll taste it. It literally goes bad. But the milk, the homogenized, pasteurized milk, you're drinking dead stuff. That stuff is unhealthy. Raw milk is good for you. First of all, it's base. It's a basic. It's not alkaline. It's not acidic. Milk has IGF-1, that's insulin growth factor 1. Milk has peptides. Milk has enzymes. Milk has probiotics. Milk has immune system boosters. This is raw milk. When they heat it up and they pasteurize it, it kills all the good stuff. Also, honey is good. You consume honey, you get some of the properties of the pollen that was collected to get a health boost. Okay, here's a list of foods. Oh, and please do not drink alcohol. It's acidic and it lowers your immune system. So you have to adhere to that rule. No alcohol. None. Not even a sip of wine at night. This is very important. But look at this list of stuff that you can consume. If you get bored with this list, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. There are some things like do not take clarified butter. Do not do cod liver oil. Do not eat anything from the sea. I don't eat seaweed at all. The oceans have become way overpopulated, overpolluted. Stay away from soy sauce, isoflavonoids. That goes for men and women. You know, no apple cider vinegar, no vinegar, and that's my advice. So I'm gonna ramble on, and I'm gonna try and finalize this, and I'm gonna play some clips, some videos. The video comes from Jennifer, Veterans for Truth, and I can't guarantee you that everything coming from these videos is from. For example, there's one scene in particular that looks like a car accident. Not everything is coming from this coronavirus outbreak, but a lot of it is, and it's scary. And what's even more scary is China has a firewall. We can't get information in or out. They don't have Facebook, they don't have Twitter. They have completely different platforms, which it's their it's their firewall. Nothing gets out. Very little gets out. So we don't know what's really going on. We don't speak Chinese, so then you have to go find somebody to translate what does get out. It's a very... I'm just going to play this. I'm going to turn the volume up and play this while I ramble. So like I said, your first step, your first defense that works for you at all time, please alkalize your body. That's the first thing you have to do. That means no alcohol. None. That's a big one. And I'm telling you. And alkalize the body. Please. That's the first thing you do. Okay? Second thing you do is don't panic. I know this is scary stuff. I know that I'm fear-mongering. I'm doing so on purpose. I want to scare you. I want you to experience fear when you watch these videos and when you hear the stuff that I'm telling you. Because fear is a great motivator. And you need to be motivated to make changes and preparations. And you need to do it now. Please. You need to have plan A, you need to have plan B, and you need to have plan C. Plan A is to continue on your life. Continue on your life. But be aware of your surroundings, things you do. Don't go to social gatherings. It's irresponsible to do so. Don't be in large crowds. It's all... if we think about the fact that the Super Bowl just happened and there's already confirmed cases around the United States, and they could have been walking around for up to 21 days transmitting this around the country, then we'll see in no more than 21 days if everybody from the Super Bowl has it who went there, just walking around, breathing in the same air. Not only have the planets aligned, but all the stupid sheep are going right along, carrying right along as they always do. And so you gotta have plan A, you know, because I know that some of you have things that you're committed to right now to give you a sense of purpose, a dream, a goal, something to better your life. Don't walk away from that today just because I made a video, just because there's this thing going around. It could all just clear up tomorrow. That would be wishful thinking, wouldn't it? But you have to practice right now being aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the things you do. Don't hug people. Don't shake people's hands. Don't share pens. You know, think about those type of things that we do that we consider like, oh, you're not a nice human being if you don't hug me and kiss me on the cheek when you see me. And excuse me, forget about all that. Isolate yourself from people. Those people, like, you know, people honestly, people don't really. When things are good, people pretend that they like you. But when situations turn bad, you'll see the true nature of what's in their heart. And chances are, they will chew you up and spit you out if it's between you and them. Because that gets on to Plan B. Plan B, now they're quarantining people. I don't know if I missed the video, but they're literally welding people into their apartment buildings. Massive apartment here. Massive apartment building being welded shut. They're shutting the doors on people. What would you do if you got stuck in your building for 21 days? You need to have food. Now Plan B overlaps into Plan C. Let me finish Plan B. You need to have water, and you need to have enough of it. And you need to have food. Rice and beans is still cheap today, but it won't be in the future. You need to have enough of it to shelter in place. How much is up to you? Because at some point, you're going to need to go to Plan C. And this is the important one. I want you to listen carefully. New York City has a population of 8.3 million people, 8.4 million people. Wuhan province, Wuhan city has a population of 11 million people. They quarantined the whole city. They've got curfews. They're locking people in their apartment buildings. People cannot leave Wuhan. You do not want to be stuck. You do not get stuck. Plan C is to leave and get to safety. That means having enough gas right now in gas cans to get you to where you need to go. And if it is impossible for you to stock up enough gasoline in gas cans and kept in the trunk or in the passenger seat or the back seat, if it's impossible for you to collect that much, get in contact with another person on the other side of your destination and tell them to get whatever gas or diesel they need to meet you halfway. And you leave your car if you have to. You can get a new car. You can come back and get your car. And you get to safety. So think about that. Do not get stuck. Because you don't want to be stuck in a place that limits your chance of survival. So some of the most important things that I can really say here is that being prepared for those steps are important. Because, like I said, what are they going to do with the people at Boston College, all stuck in the dormitories, going to classes, sharing the same air that they breathe? Now, I just want to play this. And I might have some final words if I can think of some.
This is not a joke. I mean... What's sad is they think that their government is going to protect them, like so many Americans do. It says add oil. It's often used to for encouragement.
加油！加油！
Mm. If y'all